improvement mindset to be the most useful is because it finds meaning in the meaningless.
True pain. Yeah.
Yes, because if the worst games can still have a purpose, and that makes me feel well, it's not just like a you're gaslighting yourself or fooling yourself into proving things.
Mm-hmm.
It really does give them meaning because it feels like I can still practice something, you know.
Yeah.
So
Just because like it's like painful, it doesn't mean that there's not like something useful to be
right, and
gained
it
from
will
it.
always be painful. Like that kind of stuff will always be frustrating, but it takes some of the edge off knowing that it serves a purpose, even if the purpose is frustrating. Like it does something. There is a goal in mind, and I think that the thing that also helps is knowing that like some of those ups and downs are inevitable as well. So
Yeah.
okay, now have you placed yet?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
where are
plat
you
two
at?
right now.
Plot two, not too bad, not too bad. Do you think that's an accurate representation of your skill?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, okay.
I
And
mean, like, I think like I could get to Diamond 5 if I like played more regularly.
well, that's always like the lowest hurdle, right? It's like, is my playtime reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Where would I
Yeah.
be if I played like for a week? For me, that's always kind of been like Masters 3, Masters 4 with most heroes. Is like if I give it 1 week, I'll be like mid low Masters on most characters. But then obviously like okay, once that initial hurdle is passed of just like playtime, then what's like the thing that's keeping me from improving? And obviously that's why we're here. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope to develop strategies around controlling competitive anxiety and improving gameplay. Now, I'm going to guess that you not placing up until recently had something to do with the competitive anxiety.
Yeah, well, I plays in like at the tail end of season 9, but
Yep.
I do like I have been playing a lot of quick play instead of ranked because of comp anxiety.
Right, right.
And just to be straight up, like I have like an anxiety disorder, so
Sure.
that affects a lot of my life, just
Sure.
outside of this game, obviously.
Sure,
But
sure, sure. This is what makes Overwatch so, and video games in general, like so valuable and so dangerous because I find that there's, for most people, video games are either an opportunity to exacerbate your IRL struggles
yeah.
or to improve them. And there's no in
Mm-hmm.
between. And my journey, I think, has been an excellent example of that because I have done both. I have had like a lot of my tendency to overthink things outside in my real life has really been exacerbated with video games, and my ability to develop and find a productive and structured ways of improvement and just learning how to learn has improved significantly through video games, right? Not just my job, but
Mm-hmm.
like my own process. So it's been about finding ways to kind of lean into my strengths and away from my weaknesses. And so, you having anxiety and all that kind of stuff is like it's normal, and
Mm-hmm.
it demonstrating itself through competitive anxiety is also normal because that's
Yeah.
something that people even without normal anxiety have. I had it, major issue with me, and I think like finding tools to train around it or through it and develop habits is the way to go. So what's your plan? What's your game plan, at least short term? What have you done at least to kind of just like do your placements in season 9, get some VODs for today's coaching sessions? Was it tolerable? Was
Um.
it intolerable? I mean, obviously you said the experience of the games was negative, but like let's say
Yeah.
regardless of the experience of getting in and queuing up, how did you do it?
So like the first couple games, like I get like pretty bad physical sensations, as in
Uh-huh.
like my hands are shaking, my chest is shaking.
Yep.
Um.
Well, why are you anxious? Let's start with that because there's
Um.
logic behind it, right?
Yeah, it's a lot to do with like perceiving on how others in the game uh, are judging me.
Yes.
Especially as a support main
Yes.
for the most
Yes.
part.
Yes. If it
Like
makes you
you
feel any
have
better,
like
if it makes
uh,
you feel any better, that's the least judged of all the rules. But continue, in my experience,
okay.
because you're less
Um,
visible. Tanks are the
yeah,
worst. But yeah,
I
keep
guess
going.
like I kind of view support as like having like the most jobs out of all the roles. You
Right.
have to like heal, support team, and you also have to be a
There's
DPS.
there's always pressure on you. Yes. Yes. There's a number of pressures, but I also keep in mind that is due to your shortcomings that you're more likely to perceive whatever you're playing as the most anxious role because that's where you
Yeah.
are. right? I don't
Hmm.
disagree with your points, but just keep that in mind. Keep going.
Hmm. See, and yeah, so like I get really just anxious on like based on like, oh, I died. Is the enemy team laughing at me? Or oh, I died. Is my I have mesh chat muted like all the time. Is my team
Yeah.
flaming me? And I'm not seeing it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. I notice there's like two answers to that question. The answer is as often yes. Yeah, they're making fun of you. They hate you. You're really taking them off, right? But
mhm.
like how important is that impact to them long term, right? Are they going to remember you in 24 hours,
Yeah,
much less 48,
probably not, but I
right?
will remember it, which is like the
And that's the key
very
thing.
ironic and sad thing about it.
Well, of course, right? And it's because, I've noticed a lot of like our negative anxieties, and even people that are too hard on themselves, is like it's not you don't intend it to be this way, but it is a little bit of the main character syndrome, where that you inflate
Yeah.
your purpose, not your purpose, your importance to other people to the point to where like, oh, I should be like even like being hard on yourself. Why are people hard on themselves? Because they expect better from themselves. They have a really high standard for themselves. Why? Because they're really good and they're really important. And it's this weird thing where like it really is not that you don't think too much of yourself. It's that you get in your own way. Is more than it is anything else. Like, why do you care so much of what other people think? Is like because you want to perform, right?
Hmm.
You want to play well. You want to do the right thing. So
Yeah.
and that could be such a the irony there is by doing that is that you because you're trying to you make yourself less because you gatekeep yourself from competing. So how was the process though? Like how did it go?
Well, it was the first couple of games were pretty hard, like,
Yeah, yeah.
and particularly like the handshaking obviously affects your
Oh,
aim.
definitely. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but after a few games, it gets better. And then I had the two games. Like I had three rage quits in that game.
So,
One
so
was to
how did
my
that affect
benefit.
you? Like, not to be all weird with it, but like, obviously, the rage quit, it's a total trash disaster of the game. But how
Yeah.
did you feel about that? How did it affect how you played afterwards,
Um,
or how you requeued into the next game?
I went in tilted, to be honest, because it was most. I was trying to find a good game to get a review on,
Mhm.
and I felt like I was getting cheated out of good games to get reviewed on
Right, right.
because there were like games where I felt like would be really beneficial to review them, but they're
Yeah.
just kind of ruined more or
Here's
less.
the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. And this is maybe where the anxiety is rearing its ugly head. Because if you really think about it, do you think you need a quote unquote good game for this review to have high value? Do you think I care
Mhm.
that much?
I suppose like since it's like this might be like a one-time session. I don't know. Like I guess like I was hoping for like the best match possible,
Sure, but what
but
is the best match?
a close loss, I would say.
Sure. I would just say a close game, period. But here's the question: do you think that you're making visible errors, correctable errors? Do you think I can learn about your gameplay even if it doesn't fit the VOD parameters?
Yeah, I would
I mean,
say
yeah,
so, I think.
I think I can, right? I've been doing this for a long time. Quality of the VOD is a very, very small percentage of the value of the actual session and really not all that important. I have a lot of people
Hmm.
coming here anxious about the quality of the VOD, but it's never really been, almost ever, been a factor in terms of the quality of the review. So
Okay.
kind of it's kind of like one of those things. Well, my point being is that like it's one of those things that you're putting a lot of emphasis and a lot of importance on, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the effort that you put in. It means that you care. That's good. You see, all the things about anxiety are the opposite of that is total malaise, total indifference,
Hmm.
and that's even worse. That's way worse, right? If you're nervous about something, it means that you care about it, right? And I respect and I appreciate that. The problem is that you're sometimes creating these situations in your head or these problems, and I know that you know this, that
Hmm.
are really not, they're not a problem. They're not really a factor. So
Yeah.
one of the ways that we deal with that, at least in the Overwatch headspace, is repeatedly exposing yourself to that scenario, little bit by little bit, until you start to realize that, oh wow, yeah, it really doesn't matter. Let me give you a good
Hmm.
example. Let's say that you had a VOD review booked daily with me. literally every day. And every day you came in, you provided a VOD. There would be days where you'd have a really crappy VOD, correct?
Right. Yeah.
But because it would happen so many times, and you would realize that, oh, we still have a productive session even without the crappy VOD, your concern, even with your tendency to be anxious about it, would probably just go to the point where you actually wouldn't really care about the quality of the VOD anymore. Mm-hmm. That plus your comfort with me and our relationship, and it'd be very relaxed, and we wouldn't really care, right? So when you go into ranked, the reason why ranked anxiety is bad is not because that there's not going to be rage quitters and throwers and games where you play poorly and people where they flame you. It's that experience feels less like the one all be all. The irony of ranked anxiety is the more that it pushes you away from the game, the more exceptional or unique the ranked experience becomes, and the more anxious you get about it. Yeah. Because it only happens every so often. So, man, it's got to be really important. I remember when I first played ranked, it was like a once a week scenario. I had to have, first off, I had to make sure that everything was quiet. My mic was working. My computer, I had a laptop, and it would sometimes bug out. So I had to make sure that my laptop was working. And I'd warm up for like 30 minutes. If I felt mechanically warm, I'd go in, and then I'd like, okay, I got to lock it. And then I'd try to micromanage everybody in shot call. And I get really nervous and really, it felt like, it was like this big, it was like the opening night of a Broadway show, and I'm the lead character, man. Like, and I was like, dude, it was like freaking low silver, It just didn't matter. And so, but to me, it mattered a lot. And that's where, again, you need to find a way to slowly and push yourself with that. Create a structure, create a habit, create a schedule around how you're approaching rank, because you could tell yourself over and over and over again that it doesn't matter, that it's not that important, and that it's really, and that might be true, but that's not going to help you not feel anxious that much, right? It might ground you, but you have to teach yourself is the thing that you have to do. You have to teach yourself. Does that make sense?
Yep, totally agree.
And so like that's the challenge, right? It's like, that's the challenge, is that like, how do I teach myself? How do I go from, pushing myself and when I'm so apprehensive about opening the front door. And I think that's where like you got to look at your training schedule. Like, how are you approaching ranked right now? Well, right now you're not approaching ranked at all. You're playing 3 hours of Overwatch each night and generally just playing quick play. Okay, so how can we make that process of opening the ranked door less apprehensive or easier to do? Because once you get in the door, you're good. But then how do we get you through that door?
I mean, I would say like, I've mostly been doing it with like I have a group of friends that like to watch me play, even though they don't play themselves.
Sure.
So like, there's like enough like they can say like, oh my god, like like, oh, your team's strong or whatever. And it's just like, even if it's not true, like I'm part of the team. Like it still is like a little bit of pressure relieved off of me, and also
is it because it's more of a social event?
Yeah.
And less like you're by yourself. Makes sense. Makes sense.
But it's a problem because they like to talk a lot, and sometimes it gets to the point where I can't focus on the game at all.
That is a problem, but that might be a necessary evil as a stepping stone, right? Like optimally, you wouldn't need that, and I think that's good that you're aware of that as an issue. But what you're doing is you're kind of removing the stigma around ranked little bit by little bit.
Yeah.
So the question is what's going to be your next step? What's the next step? Because is that consistent? Do you think that situation, that environment, is that going to be something you're going to be able to? Okay, why not? Is it their availability, or you're going to want to move beyond from that, or what?
Well, partly like I don't want to like rely on other people being available for me to play.
Of course.
A game. I think that's like kind of the biggest part of it, and also like them talking over the comp game is honestly kind of annoying, because I just have issues like when a bunch of people are talking at once, I can't hear what anybody is talking.
I don't think that's a you issue. I think that's just I think that's normal. But yeah, go ahead.
I think like the biggest thing for me is just like to set up a schedule and like set a hard limit of like 2 hours a day, like maybe like 5 days a week, and just kind of view it as like writers, they have to write like 2 hours a day to get the novel out in 6 months.
Yeah.
So just kind of viewing it as like a work in progress as a hobby.
Right, exactly, and being flexible with how and when you solo queue, like kind of easing yourself into that. I think like you could have an accountability partner. So there's two ways of approaching it, right? You can have an accountability partner where you have a little bit more external motivation to do things because, I don't want to let that person down. They're expecting me to do this. That's great. There's the other way of doing things is having some sort of either making the hurdle shorter, right? So instead of forcing yourself to play like 2 hours of ranked, ask yourself, can I make myself play one ranked game every day? Just one.
Yeah.
And you're going to be nervous about it and actually just be like, you know what? I'm going to let myself be anxious. I'm going to let my hands shake.
Yeah.
I'm going to let myself be apprehensive. Don't avoid it. Just embrace it. It is what it is. It's a physiological response because you care. Your caring is going to make you better because you're going to actually push yourself in that one game, even if you make a lot of mistakes. And what's going to happen is... No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's interesting you say that because, I've been in, therapy for my anxiety issues. And that's one of the things I say is like, the more you push away the anxiety, the stronger you feel the anxiety.
Right,
because it's like, the analogy is like a fish on a hook and it's trying to pull away, but it's just making the pain worse. And so if you go along with the pain, if you just kind of sit with it, it becomes a lot easier to like...
Because it is a tool.
Yeah.
It is a tool. It is, like I said, it is what makes you care so much about stuff. And like I said, I cannot coach people who don't care. I can work with anxious people. I myself was anxious, but I can't teach somebody to care about something they don't care about, right? So you are in a great position to train yourself, not through this or around this, but to utilize what you have. So like you said, embrace anxiety. Use it. Use it as as a motivator to really hyper focus. Because most people come to me. Most people have the problem. They come in and they need to be anxious. I wish they were more anxious. They don't try. They don't know how to practice. They don't know how to focus in game at all. Now, obviously, you've gone to the opposite extreme, of course. But like you're coming from a standpoint where you know what it is like to really be dialed in a game, right? Maybe too dialed in. But the point being is like you're from that standpoint. So all you ask yourself to do is you play that one great game. You embrace anxiety. You don't worry about it. And then this is the most important part. You decide what to do from there. Do you play a second rank game or do you jump into quick play? Either one is fine because let's be honest, at your rank, even though it is Plat 2, it's not. You're above average player. One serious, even anxiety-ridden ranked game a day with big intentions, you can progress from that. You can absolutely progress rank from that. So you're in a good position to improve from that schedule and see where it goes. And then crucially, like, what do you feel like you in that moment? Do you feel like 2 ranked games? Do you feel like 3 ranked games? Do you want to call it at 1? 5 days a week? That's up to you.
Yeah.
That's up to you. But exactly like you said, don't try to push away the anxiety. Like you can reason with yourself all you want. I think it's good. It gives you a little bit of empowerment to understand like the anxiety is not, you don't need to be anxious, right? Nobody's going to care that much. In the moment they will, but they don't care. You're not going to hurt anybody's enjoyment of the game long term. But okay, does that sound like a reasonable step for you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how that goes, and keep me updated with how it goes. And obviously, like I said, don't push away the anxiety, weaponize it. And we'll give you we'll give you a direction with what to go. Be anxious about positioning or cooldown usage or whatever. Trust yourself. And I could tell you as well, one thing that I'll give you a little bit of encouragement with is you will get better. It will take practice. It will take trial and error. But do not be afraid. You will be, but have my voice in the back of your head about like, oh, I'm not going to get better. You will get better. I promise you.
Okay. Yeah, because that is actually like a thing I think about. Like, people say that like
it's normal. It's normal, especially because improvement's non-linear, right? Like you might actually get worse rank-wise after our session. That's not only normal. That's actually generally the rule, right? That's normal. So just trust the process and keep being anxious about whatever I tell you to work on.
Right.
Keep working on it. It will get better. It will. And people are stupid too. Like I'm stupid. I'm this whole adventure, right? I started to second guess my ability with this character like 3 or 4 days in. I do this every time. It happened with Sombra, happened with Farah. I think it happened with Brig back in the day, like season 2, whatever. I figured it out. It clicked. But in the moment, it always feels like I'm never going to figure this out. You do. And eventually, let's put it this way. I did second guess myself a little bit, but I did second guess myself less than I did Farah. And I second guessed myself with Farah less than I did Sombra. So eventually, even stupid people like me figure it out, right? You start to trust yourself just a little bit more. But it is scary to expose yourself to new experiences, but like I said, this is what makes a video game great, because it allows you to kind of like have, I did this with Overwatch, I can do this with other things.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to critique your training schedule. I think we already kind of have a general game plan. The only thing I will say is I think it can be useful if you're not all ready to warm up for 5 or 10 minutes, especially with the characters that you're playing.
Okay.
But then be careful about not allowing yourself to, like, you need to set a time constraint. Do not allow yourself to decide when you're warmed up and when you're not, because you will think that you're never warmed up enough.
Okay. So like warming up, like usually if I do warm up, I'm just in a practice range, like shooting bots.
Vaxa or a deathmatch round.
Okay.
Vaxa or an unranked deathmatch round. 5 or 10 minutes, then move on.
Okay.
And you're done. And do not allow yourself to go further, because you will start to, like, because some days you will not feel warm after 5 to 10 minutes, but it doesn't matter. It's good enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Goals, want to reach GM on all 3 roles. I think with the amount of time that you're playing, that is possible.
That's not happening.
Well, no, wait a second.
I realize that with the rank changes, that is not. I'm not doing that anymore.
It is possible.
Sure.
It is possible. It's possible. Long term, you probably won't be able to reach GM 3 roles at the same time exactly. Like, you might be like GM on a role and then drop to Masters while you're GMing the other role, and so on, right? But it is possible. It is possible. Yeah. So, you're shooting high for sure, but you're not shooting beyond what's possible with what you're doing.
Yeah. It's also like I'm going to school later in the fall, and I honestly have no idea how much time I'll be able to dedicate to Overwatch during that time.
Right. So who knows? But in the meantime, like in the next 3 or 4 months, like, how far can you go with that as your goal? I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's see. Short-term goal, I want to reach Masters on support. Sure. Obviously, short-term being like relative, that will still take some time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? I get very anxious playing comp. We talked about it. I meant to get a coaching, so I couldn't work up the courage to play ranked. It's better now, but as I play, that's the thing. It's like, it's better now. You did it. You played ranked. We're in a voice call right now. You've been in Patreon games, getting your tail kicked. Right. I apologize for that. Right, in the Ilios game, I did the best. I'm not the best.
Oh my god. I got really angry when you went Sombra on King's Row. Not gonna lie.
That is true. But you know what? You showed up and you did it.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to be objective with yourself. It's like, I'm still anxious. Yeah, but look what you've already done. Look at where you've come from. Like, you can't, like, somebody's moved, right? Sometimes it's like the movement is so slow, it feels like you're not moving, but it happened. We're here. Yeah. You played the rank, even though it was a really negative experience. So congratulations. It's not so much how you feel, it's about what you've actually done, and you have done it. So gameplays wise, my number one issue is positioning. I love to hear it, because I agree. I think positioning is the number one thing for 99% of players. Maybe not 99%, 90%, I would say. Okay. Only thing I would say, obviously, and I'm going to say it, sleep's a little low.
Yeah.
Is that an insomnia or work or time related or what?
Is a mixture of like anxiety and insomnia. Like, I've been under like a lot of real life stressors lately.
Understandable.
So, but that stuff has been resolved. So I'm hoping that things will get easier. Good.
I've been working through some CBT therapy stuff, insomnia stuff for my own end. We all probably could use it.
Yes.
It's been helping me a lot, the sleep compression stuff. I'm on like 6 hours of sleep, but I'm actually sleeping through the night now, so I'm like, hey, all right,
that's
I'm
awesome.
taking it, so I'm taking it. So it is. Okay. Let's keep going here. Do you have any other questions before we jump into gameplay?
I think that covers basically everything.
All right. I'm looking forward to this, mate. So let's take a look here. Shoot me the code when you get a chance.
So I have. Is it okay? We look at both Zenyatta and Kiriko.
Yeah, of course. We got time. We'll have to speed run stuff a little bit, but I'm sure we'll get stuff.
Yeah. So this is Zenyatta code first.
Got it. Freaking love Zenyatta.
He's my most played character. It's funny. My top 3 most played heroes are Anna, Zen, and then Reinhardt. Because I played so much Reinhardt.
You see this? Great minds think alike.
Dude, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I can't imagine playing both Zenyatta and Genji. Actually,
I actually started as a Genji main. Genji is the reason why I'm playing this game. Actually. Okay, let's take a look here. Zen. What do you try to work on? What's the goal of Zen?
Is to put pressure on the enemy teams through taking off angles, supporting your most aggressive.
You got it.
Your team members usually DPS
So you've
with
watched my
Harmony.
reviews, obviously. Then.
Yes.
Okay, so then we don't even need to ask a question. You know the answer. Question is obviously the gap between your knowledge and your execution, and then obviously if there's sometimes what ends up happening is because I'm not coaching you and I'm coaching somebody else, something may not fully click. Do you feel that there's anything that hasn't fully clicked with you?
For Zen.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly have a lot of trouble using his ult. It's very
That's
inconsistent.
That's
I'm
normal.
either too late using it or use it too early.
Here's the solution. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Embrace the fact that you're going to fail with his ultimate a lot because it's not a you problem, it's the ult problem. In Overwatch 2, it's been a lot worse. The other thing, too, is the DPS passive really can make it inconsistent. That's not you. Yeah. That's the ultimate. Everybody has an ultimate. And
negative 20% with... Yeah, I just realized that's a massive debuff.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So it's not you, it's the ult. So generally what I've been coaching recently, the last 6 months or so, is actually to use your ultimate more selfishly to take a more aggressive off angle.
Mm-hmm.
So take
and that's when I'm most successful with it. It's when I use it selfishly.
Exactly. That's where you're going to find more consistency. And it's not just more consistent. I do think that because it's more consistent, it might overall be slightly more effective more of the time. There was probably some exceptions to that rule, but honestly, even into like Blade, I find myself like still forcing that, right? Because a lot of time you got to think about like you are the priority target sometimes, and so you could kind of pull the ultimate to yourself and then live it. But yeah, unless there's like a really obvious low-hanging fruit like that Zarya has grab and then she pops it, you just press Q and you pray that that's enough.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I would say probably 90% of the time with Zen, I'm egoing my ultimate in some way, shape, or form. So okay. Let's take a look here. I find Zen to be a very simple character, that the complexity is the execution of what you're trying to do. So you do damage, you enable off angles, and that's pretty much it. But there's a lot of detail and nuance in how you do those things well.
Yeah.
I like the primary fire we got here. Tell that that's something that you're at least somewhat aware of.
I have a bad habit of using right click, so that is something I'm actively working on to break.
Hey, there you go. I think Orb on the Doom has been fine because he's been pretty aggressive and you couldn't quite reach the Tracer, so it was alright. And also Doom is slightly lower HP than some tanks, so the 30 healing per second matters a little bit more. No real complaints here. The only little detail, I think, just tiny little thing worth pointing out here is look at your crosshair placement right here. You see it?
Yeah, it's pretty lazy.
Just ankle height, right? But that's a relatively small thing. That and then plus some mechanics, but overall seems okay so far. Now, why did you choose this code?
Because it's literally the only Zenyatta game I could get. All the other ones were ruined by rage quits.
That's fine. So I'm going to add another layer to your mechanical practice. You ready for this one? So what I'm seeing here is that as long as there have been bodies to see, you're pressing primary fire, which is good. Right?
Yeah.
Like this is fine. This is fine. Maybe, yeah, this is all fine. But there's one concept that you probably have not considered as much with Zenyatta, and it's trigger discipline.
Yes.
You're familiar with the concept, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Something to consider. Just because it allows you to be more thoughtful with your shots, it increases your accuracy, crucially in the long term, but sometimes also in the short term, too. Like this right here. There's a lot of shots here that you're just throwing and aiming at head height, and honestly, the aim is not bad. The aim has been totally fine, like, and it's pretty reasonable, but it's something that you can actually consciously practice, and I guess for those of people that are going to come back and listen to this afterwards, basically trigger discipline is just slow down your primary fire just by a little bit and aim each shot. Doesn't mean that you're firing at like Widowmaker speed, right? But you do want to slow down, and be deliberate with your shots. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like you could see it here, right? Because what ends up happening is your eyes just sort of blur. Good. Look at this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just shooting at the cover.
You're just shooting at cover, and you're shooting actually like a full couple of inches above his head as well. And that's not your mechanics are not that bad. You're just kind of zoned out, right? And I think Zen is one of those simple heroes where that complexity comes with things like this. You're going to get a lot of reward out of little things. Don't really have, again, any complaints here. Obviously, we'll keep an eye as these things evolve in terms of like your positioning, but overall you've had slight off angle, good cover usage, managing your range. The orb usage has been fine. So it's all the little things, right? Like this right here is perfect. You don't do it on purpose, but because the Venture moves so dramatically, you accidentally incorporate Trigger Discipline. Watch. So she gets punched, or they get punched, and there's the movement, right? And so you pause just a second, and so what ends up happening is you're able to move your crosshair and just blam. Well done.
Yeah.
So you're aware of it. It's just when it becomes those movements are a lot more minute, you tend to forget about it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's very normal. That's something that I'm probably really bad at, actually. It's just one of those trances, you know? Here's what I would do. I would go into this fight with the knowledge that I have trance. So as soon as this Venture dies, your mindset needs to go, okay,
Go more aggressive.
where's that angle? Because you want to talk about positioning, right? Positioning is contextual. Do I have trance? Do I not have trance?
Right.
So normally you would just go here and just blast him, right? But then what about here? If you'd had time to set up, which by the way you don't, but if you'd had time to set up, what about here? What if you'd done a crazy rotation here, right? Obviously that's kind of irrelevant here because you just didn't have time to do so. I don't even think this trance is that bad. Like it felt.
No,
awkward.
I mean, yeah.
But But what you could even do is like kind of what you do here is you can even end the trance in an aggressive angle. The problem here is I just don't like the details of how you did it. So like give me some coaching here. Where could you end up?
Well, I think the problem is that I don't think there's a great Zen map, to be honest. I don't know what position to take.
Yeah. So there's two choices.
I think
one, you just go right back here. What's your other choice?
I think my intention was going to the mini health pack room.
Yeah.
That I'm like kind of going towards.
I like this a lot. This is really good. Yeah, exactly.
I think I just wasted too much time in the transcendence, like standing still, so like I kind of got stuck like under the bridge.
Let's be honest as well. You probably didn't think about the mini health pack until here.
Right now. Yeah.
Right, at which point you actually can't get there because you knew that I was going to end somewhere on that angle, but you just didn't know where. But those details matter. Because this is like an acceptable position to be in, but it could be better. I like this right here. This fight's lost, so just like pop off, you know. Wait, actually now you just live. Yeah, this is.
I almost never find myself in these situations.
You're slow, so it's rare. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think you just make
especially with Venture, I'm just like I'm gonna get one tapped so hard.
Yeah, this is good. I mean, that you're clearly paying attention to the timing of things, that the angle that you have is very reasonable. The right click is good, you anticipate the pressure, you orb the tracer. Yeah, I mean, this is great. I'm telling you, mate, you need to play ranked more. I really am pleased with how you're practicing this VOD. You should be very proud of this VOD.
Thank you.
There are lots of mistakes, little mistakes and little adjustments, but you're very like cognizant and very deliberate with a lot of your actions, and it really shows the level of focus. This is the anxiety at work, you know? Like, not to be corny about it, but like you're putting a lot of intention in like your strategy here, and it's paying off. It's showing.
Yeah, and like I didn't like select an ego VOD, so like because I know
not
that
an ego
I
VOD. Clearly not an ego VOD, right? Like you're not killing people like crazy, but like a lot of your actions do have deliberate thought behind them, and it's good. It's really good. Okay.
Dude, what's wrong with Discord?
Discord okay?
Yeah, first I've been having a bug where like sometimes Discord will just become an entire gray square, and I have to like minimize it to get it back. Yeah, it's really weird.
Okay, we got here back. This is again where like the trigger discipline can be really helpful, because what it will do is, remember, the first thing we pointed out was your crosshair placement.
Yeah.
And that's also going to be trigger discipline as well, like right here. So this is fine, but then you adjust your crosshair back to the right, and you can already see it's just a centimeter too low. Because even if you hit the shots here, it's never going to be a headshot. right? So being more deliberate with your shots means also you're more deliberate with your movement. It means you're also more deliberate with your crosshair placement. So everything mechanical is improved by slowing down the process because you open up the brain space to be able to clean up the details, right? It's
I think I become like I get in two modes of aiming with Zen. I go into spam, like it doesn't matter where I just choose an angle and shoot
Well, the
through it
reason
and
you're
deny
doing
that
this
space.
is you're putting priority on breaking that right click habit.
Yeah.
And if you were to judge so far, maybe you haven't been paying as much attention as I have, but if you were to judge the quality of your alt fire versus primary fire choices so far in this VOD, how would you grade yourself on that?
Like a B minus.
I would give you an A.
An A, okay.
Yeah, I think it's been not perfect, but it's been quite good. It's been quite good. So that to me is why your trigger discipline is bad. Is because that has been your priority, right? And that's normal. That's how it's going to be. But what I'm saying is that keep that on the back burner. Be aware of that. But now it's doing so well. Maybe your autopilot with it is improved. Maybe you can afford time on trigger discipline now. You know, it's not about finding the balance because they're two different skills. They can work together, but it is something that, like, because you're focusing on one mechanical skill, your other mechanical skill might be bad. But actually, I think it's been pretty reasonable here. Orb's good. Orb's good. Positioning here as well is really good. Angle here is perfect. Only thing I would say here is just to be a little bit more disciplined with your cover usage because a better Cassidy here is definitely going to target you. And so that's fine, but then you need to make sure that you can, like, if he shoots you once, you need to immediately LOS him. And I don't know if you can do that.
I wasn't even. I just realized that he was there.
I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
You
did realize. Trance is, again, I don't really have a problem with it. It secures the fight, but it is another one of those situations where, like, going into this fight, you know that I'm going to build trance. Could you have taken a better angle leading into this? I don't think you could have. So this trance is fine. But if you'd had, like, let's say you didn't use trance this fight, going into next fight, your trance 100% changes how you position. And just for the sake of practice, how would you position here if you had trance?
Oh, I was asking myself during the game. I have no idea. Everything seems bad.
It is, because it's very linear. There's a really simple solution, frankly. I think the best thing that you can do is either aggressively hold this right side. Don't disengage it, just hold it. Make them push you out on this side. Or go for total cheese mode with trance. I'm not joking. Literally hide here. If you had time, I might even hide here and sit quietly. Just total cornball. Go play like your Sombra. This is what you're doing.
Right.
And you're going to wait for them to walk forward. You're going to walk forward. You're not going to right click because you don't want them to make any noise. You're going to sneak up behind them and blam, 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 blam. They're all going to freaking freak. And at the last second, you're going to trance and then go back to your team. So don't just think about holding a more aggressive angle. Flank. Like straight up flank if it's appropriate. Now, it depends on the comp, I will say. Like, if they're like a full Tracer Sombra, holding a more aggressive angle is more valuable because they will dive you, right? But if you ever versus a comp, you're like, oh, they're never going to dive me, which I do, flank. Just straight up flank.
Yeah. Looking back at it, I was not happy with this positioning.
Well, there's no good position. I will say there's one thing that would make this position feel better. It's you being here sooner, even without trance, because you're making this rotation too easy. Where's your strong point? It's the sightline, right?
Yeah.
If you do not stuff this sightline, they're going to get to here. And then now where's your strength?
I probably wouldn't have a strength.
It's over.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. So you need to hit them on this sightline with your Sojourn. Otherwise, you're cooked. And so what's happening is you guys are stacking on Robot. You need to be doing damage right now. If you don't do damage right now, then you're going to let them rotate for free. If you let them rotate for free, there is no good position anymore. So if you feel lost, good, because there is no solution to this. It's literally over.
Yeah, the fight's already over before it's literally even begun.
Because even if you do have ultimates here, you have no sightline. Like, there's no good solution to what this. I mean, this is like probably the best option you have, right? But like, I mean, come on, it sucks, right? It actually sucks. You have to put pressure early and often. And that's why, like, when you're playing versus even dive, find a long sightline and get egoing quickly. With cover, but get egoing, because if you let them choke you out, you are done. You're cooked. And you can tell you're so locked into that non-alt fire.
Yeah.
You should absolutely be all firing. But you know what? I again, this is the anxiety speaking, because anxiety is now, what are we? 620, and you have not forgotten. You have had like 7, 8 fights, and you have not forgotten what you're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very valuable skill. Very valuable skill. Obviously, trigger discipline here, and I will say it is causing your harmony priority to suffer just a little bit because you're so focused on that alt fire. Like Moira or even Sojourn here needs to be orbed. You are with the DPS passive, 24 healing per second. Okay.
Yeah. I will say that like as the fight like is happening, I will forget to switch harmony.
Yes.
Or
yes.
to a more preferable
That's again
target.
normal, right? That's again normal, but that might be a small, because we haven't really talked about your cooldowns because they've been really good, but that might be a small detail to keep in mind. Because that would have saved your Moira, almost certainly.
Yeah.
And would not have saved your Malga, almost certainly, if you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm.
Good orb there. Like even here, do you see you second guess yourself? Why? Because your tank was the one that was crit. So you cycle it back, but then you only get around 80 healing out of it. And meanwhile, the Tracer desperately needs it here.
Well, yeah, that's a thing where like, oh, I don't want my tank to flame me because he's sitting right in front of me, but
Yeah.
but it's a smarter thing to put a harmony on the Tracer, but I'm thinking like the Maga is gonna like just start flaming me in chat.
And that's the thing, is like that's where the anxiety is, the double-edged sword, right? It's allowing you to have this great intensity with whatever you're practicing, but you're so sensitive to pressure. You're think about it this way: you are a glass cannon.
Yep.
You're a glass cannon, so you need to lean into your strengths and reinforce with concrete.
Yep.
And that comes with time. That comes with practice. And really think about it this way, like in the same way that plants that are grown in steady winds grow thick stems. That's what you need to do. You need to be able to take a little bit of that pressure, just a little bit, a little bit of that. I got to play the rank game. I don't really want to. I know that Malgo might flame you, I got the, right? Just a little, like that will make you stronger. It will make you stronger. Don't break yourself, but do push yourself just a little bit.
Yeah.
Positioning here, by the way, is fine. You have an angle, you have a sight line. As your Malgo walks forward, you rotate forward. I think also as well, you could be more comfortable rotating forward when you see windows as well. Like, where could you rotate to as your Malga presses forward? By the way, trance is on the table too. Keep that in mind.
I could go like I guess lower to the ground by that tree thing, or like a little even past a little more past that tree right there.
Right.
Here.
Like you have trance. Use your get out of jail free card to win this fight. That's the way you win fights with trance. Is it allows you to do really stupid things that kill people or create a ton of space, and then just trance. Yeah. Okay. Let's stop there so that we have time to work on your Kiriko. Zenyatta.
Okay.
What needs to be practiced? What are some bullet points here? Simple stuff.
Take more aggressive flanks with Transcendence available.
With Trance available, think more about aggro angles / even flanking when appropriate.
Trigger discipline.
Trigger discipline plus crosshair placement to balance out the primary alt fire focus. What else? Harmony.
I think just in more general, like just take more off angles and
look for opportunities.
Don't stack with team
for safe angles.
And even like in positions where like there is no good position, still like take the best position there is that can win you the fight, and don't play safe.
Don't be scared of your tank flaming you.
Yes, that too.
Yes. More like mid-fight stuff, like you said. I don't think it was always anxiety-driven. I think some of it was also,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is also, your choices. Like you get distracted, but yeah,
Hmm.
okay. I think I'm really pleased with this. I actually think your positioning was fairly reasonable. I will say that this is a very easy map to position with, as you
Yes.
said, because there isn't a lot of choice. But I think that we have certainly enough to work on. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Do you want to shoot me a replay code?
Yeah. So for Kiriko, I have a map that was one of the race quiz, but like
That's fine. That's more
on
than
our
enough.
attack half, it was like it showed my lowest lows as Kiriko, I think, and
Yeah,
also my
sure.
highest highs.
We only got like 15 minutes anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yo, guess what?
Yo, what's
They're
up?
gonna be. I think the word on the street is that they're gonna be using a term that I suggested for the matchmaker moving forward.
Oh,
So I
stealing
suggested.
ideas from Spilo again and
Well,
not
no,
paying him.
they're actually they told me.
Oh,
Win streak, loss streak was misleading because it was more about the trend over a series of like 10 games. Like if you lost 7 out of those 10
oh,
games, even if you just then won a game and then lost another one, it would still say loss streak because you were still on a downward trend. And so it was kind of
yeah.
misleading. So I recommended, like I said, I recommended, hey, you guys should call it winning trend or losing trend as a modifier, and they're gonna use that.
Okay. Nice.
So that's cool. Okay, here we go. I feel like I probably shouldn't even ask because, again, it's like Zen, you're going to know what you need to know. Is there
Yeah.
anything that you've been struggling with in terms of understanding with this character?
So with Kiriko, my number one problem is that I get lost in the sauce so much in the middle of fights, and my positioning becomes really bad, like even way worse than Zenyatta.
Why do
I
you think
think
that
like
is?
I treat teleport as a get out of jail free card
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the time. And I will TP to targets that need saving, and I will die instead.
Got it. I would say that is less of a get out. So you need to treat it more like a get out of free card. You're saying, or you're saying that it's just totally free to TP wherever I want, and it's not.
I think I need to be more selfish with it and not use it to like
Probably correct. Yeah, probably correct. The
yeah.
way to so the way to look at that though, the way to look at that is the exact same logic with the Harmony Orb. It's not that you're not helping your Valga. It's that you're helping somebody else instead. When you're choosing to not TP to a blind angle, it's not that you're not helping them. It's you're choosing to help by controlling or shooting somebody else.
Mhm.
Right? It's an opportunity cost. You're not able to help everybody at any point in time. So when you choose to angle with your Sojourn here or choose to take high ground, you're choosing to not help your Reaper. You see that?
Yeah.
So are you just a mean
Exactly.
guy? Are you just a jerk? No. You just have to do what you do best. If you went with Reaper here, you'd be shooting Rain Shield and
And doing literally nothing.
doing
Yeah.
nothing, right? Like you would be hurting the Reaper's chances of winning the game. I'm sure this guy would really like to win this game. Okay, so
Mhm.
do your job. Oh wow, she just got smoked. That's actually
I
not
know.
even
I
your
was
fault.
like,
That's not even your
okay.
fault.
I was wondering. I was like, am I supposed to react to that thing? That Tracer.
No.
Tracer's proper.
She messed up. She messed up. She got shot by somebody. Oh, she got fire strike
Oh yeah, the fire strike. That
and then
sucks.
just got clipped. Yeah, that's not your fault. I'm surprised that she even had the wherewithal to even use Suzu there. I mean, that's just it, right? Like, it's kind of crazy that Ryan pushes, but you have to trust your Reaper to be able to use his defensive cooldown to at least get close.
Yeah.
Right? And this, because that's what ends up happening. What's worse? You dying, or the Reaper
Or
dying, or both of you dying?
both
Right?
of us dying,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So, like,
I licked my wounds. Let's go.
you have to trust your teammates to use their defensive cooldowns. I think that's the best way of looking at it. Like, if you have Suzu and your Mei has Ice Block and you don't Suzu her and she dies with Ice Block, that's not your fault. You can't second guess yourself there. The signal's pretty reasonable. Like, this is what Kiriko's good at, right? This is good. Question is going to be like, how's the execution? Even the target priority there, right? You're like, okay, I should be shooting Rain Shield. Okay, let's shoot out the Ana. Ana disengages. Now the question is what do you do from here? Do you see it? What are your choices? This is a really important point in this VOD.
Well, I should be shooting at the Zen. I do.
You should be shooting
on.
at this end. You should be shooting
Yeah.
at What should you not be doing?
Trying. TP, like I should not
Yes.
TP
yes,
onto the soldier.
Yes, you should not TP onto the soldier. You should. You see it?
And I still tried.
You see it? You see it? That thought process went through your brain. He's cooked. Like, he's cooked. It's over. Like, he's made that mistake. There's actually, even if you did get there and did Suzu him, he would die anyway. And so would you, once again. You have to learn from that mistake. You have to learn from that mistake because it's the concept of, like, I'm going to try and help somebody. And what that means is that you're losing these killed opportunities. And now the Zen is going to kill somebody because of you, right? Or the Ana's going to get a free rotate. Like, what you're doing now is fine, right? Even that Suzu there is, like, fine.
And now I just realized the Zen was there.
And that's it, right? Like, everything that you've done, it actually is crazy. You go from, like, playing super reasonable initial positioning. The last 5 seconds have been super reasonable, considering you didn't know he was there. Pocketing your Sojourn, pocketing your Winston, poking at the high grounds and so on. Great stuff. But the only weaknesses that you have with the Kiriko are these really stupid attempts to help people that you can't help.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same mistake twice in a row. This is good. It's fine.
And he just smoked me.
You just got smoked. You got smoked and you didn't have Suzu. I actually think that not having Suzu is still fine. Be careful with this. It's a tiny little detail. Don't melee. You see that? Don't melee.
Yeah.
Slows down your... it's only an animation cancel for bird burst, but it's just spam. Hit the shots. Way better.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's another bad
and if
habit
it makes
of
you
mine.
feel any better, look at what he hits.
Oh yeah, I went back and really. I was like, how did he kill me?
I mean,
okay.
that's insane. Like, the guy
He's just
smoked you.
Jonak.
He just smoked
What
you,
can I-
right?
can I say?
It is what it is, right? Okay. Next angle.
Nice to know you have my back.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, thank you. Little bit of trust there. Like, he also, it's kind of, he's dead. It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
And this is where it's like, man, you need your Suzu now. Because remember, if you miss the Suzu, or don't think you can Suzu somebody, in trouble. The Suzu is not wasted. It's not life grip, right? You will get value out of it in the next 5 seconds, guaranteed. Because you will find something else to do. Right?
So,
Not Suzuing here means you guarantee beat the Cassidy here.
yeah.
So-
So I should be using it less for like saving
I would not
teammates
say
who are
that,
in.
but don't feel like, like think of it as in, I'm going to take the first opportunity I see and not have a bias in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
No bias in any way, shape, or form. Especially in ranked, because in ranked, the type of heroes played in ranked are more commonly burst damage heroes. Cassidy, Zenyatta, Hanzo's, Farah's, stuff that's going to kill stuff and kill it quickly, right? There's not as much Winston, Orisa, Lucio stuff, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to die quick. So I'm not saying necessarily try to use it selfishly, just take what's given.
Group up with me.
Okay.
And I actually think this is a mistake from you. You're thinking, oh, we're down here. You're only down one. Win the fight.
That's another bad habit of mine. I will too quickly judge whether a fight is
We
winner.
saw that in
winner or
Colloseo
lost.
with Zenyatta. There was one point, remember when your Sojourn popped ultimate? You disengaged the
Yep.
fight. That one was a little bit more understandable considering the type of character that you're playing. I get it, but it's not lost. It's because not only is it not lost because you're only down one, but look at the map control here. You see it?
Yeah, I
Even
didn't
in a
realize the
plat
soldier was
game.
up there.
Even in a plat, well, you didn't need to. You just needed to know that you and Ana were up here, and the Rhine was down here, and you did. Even in a plat game, this stuff matters so much. Even in a plat game, map control angles matter so much because the Ana takes that position, the soldier takes that position. There's nowhere for the Kiriko to go because she's getting off-angled on. In fact, that Zenyatta might actually die too. Oh my days, dude. Look at this.
Yeah.
You know? And then there it is again. Crazy situation where you're trying to save your Ana, and now you're cooked again. Same thing. You're consistent. That's a great problem to have. It really is. It simplifies things immensely for you. It may be hard to break that habit, but it means that there's not 12 different things you need to be thinking about.
Well, like once we get past this first point, I think I just literally turn into a different player. Like, to be honest, I just play so much better. Like right now, I'm playing like garbage in this point. I don't. I think I
Good. You thought about it. You learned your lesson. You said no. Good. Now what do you do? And then I guess finish your thought.
my thought was that I generally have trouble on maps like control points. Like that's just a trend I've noticed, and I do better on like payload maps. So like I don't know, it's just like a mental thing or whatever.
Gaslighting yourself.
Yeah, probably.
What about the situations that we've had here have had anything to do with the objective?
I mean, not really. Not
right.
Not at all.
I mean, it might be true, but I guess it's just kind of putting the ball in your court. It's actually your responsibility to handle these things. What you did here, and the reason why you might win this fight, is because you didn't throw your corpse into the pile. You just freaking dominated their Kiriko. And now, I hope, I'm going to take the high ground here and start pressuring the Cassidy and supporting your Winston. So let's see what you do. You thought,
I tried to save.
Nabbit! Nabbit, you disappointed me. I thought you'd learned your lesson.
I mean, luckily the Winston just said, "Get down."
Yeah. The Winston just protected you accidentally. Beautiful. Love to see it. But see, this is why it's so important for you to like prioritize your own positioning, because where do you need to be, right?
Yeah.
Get off the freaking floor. Get off the freaking floor. Because you're actually so cooked right now.
No, I get out of these. Don't worry.
You can pop Kitsune Rush here, actually. Yeah, I like it. Good Suzu. Yeah, it's good Kitsune Rush. A lot of space off of that keeps you alive. Clears out space. Oop. And now you're in a good position to kind of just I mean, like, this is really good setup for you guys. You see that? Your soldier's terribly positioned, but, like, you got a great angle here. And see, now you could do whatever you want. Like, the Suzu there is probably unnecessary, but, like, whether you're healing, whether you're damaging, you're in a good position to do both. So, like, just do your thing, man. Okay, let's look at one more fight here. Okay, just kind of chilling here. Waiting for opportunities to take an angle. There we go. I like this rotation here from you. It's really good. Good. Get help in your echo. It's good. Good try with the Suzu there. It doesn't quite hit. So now you're going to trade backline. Good healing there. Good. Yeah, it's good. I mean, you needed to finish the kill there, and maybe you needed to get here sooner. But you see what's happening is, like, even though this fight's lost, you got to trade, and that's very important in this situation. With these spawns, right? I really like what you're doing. I needed to see this more in first, and I think the problem with first was not that you weren't trying to do this, is that you kept second guessing yourself and trying to help people you couldn't help. That's the biggest
I think
thing.
like the first point is like I kept getting lost in the thoughts like everyone is like, I feel like I need to help people more than just like doing just DPS Kiriko things.
I mean, look what's happening here, right? I wouldn't even say just DPS Kiriko things, because when you came up here, you helped your Winston, you almost Suzu'd your Sojourn, you helped your Echo, right? This was all good. I want you to prioritize your position first, and then you're allowed to do whatever you want, whether that's DPS or heal. I really think that that's the most important thing. I think it's not for me. My thing is if I were to like be corny, like and have a catchphrase, right? It wouldn't be damage with Kiriko or Zen. It'd be position.
Right.
Because once you're in that position, most people are smart enough to kind of take, like right now, the reason why this feels kind of stressful, you're crazy, wow, is that you shouldn't be here. It's the same mistake. You see this? You shouldn't be here. You should take this here, and then if you want to heal, or like when you're here, you're gonna see it. Your instincts are gonna kick in. You're gonna want to click appropriately, and you have, and you did well. Just put yourself in that position.
It's gonna feel really bad when tanks get that headshot damage reduction.
Yeah, but you're not gonna be spending a lot of time shooting tanks with Kiriko anyway. But yeah, okay, let's stop there. I think with Kiriko, there's two simple things. I'm gonna give you one of them. I want you to give me the second one. First one is just prioritize your setup, angle, position first. Don't worry about the damage, first heal, balance. Just take what's given.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing, and the thing we talked the most about, was what?
Trust your teammates to like get themselves out of situations and
Right. Trust your teammates to get out of situations too far, too blind. You cannot help. Help them by doing what you do best. Don't throw your body on the pile.
mm-hmm.
Does that mean that TPing to somebody on off angle is ever inappropriate? No. Of course it's
I mean,
appropriate.
if they're like in a safe position, then
Of
yeah,
course.
you should absolutely do it.
Use your sense, right? Don't. But I think that you need to something you need to be putting a little bit more thought into. Okay. Any questions?
I don't think so. If
Okay.
I come up with anything, I'll message you.
Okay. You